Welcome back. This is Fantastic Pains and How We Hide Them. I'm not Chris.
And I'm not Corina.
But we're here together.
As usual.
For more fun times and shenanigans. If this is your very first time joining us, welcome. This is our sibling duo podcast slash YouTube channel about life with chronic and invisible illnesses. And that includes both mental and emotional.
Yep. You can find us on most podcast platforms. We're on Audible, Spotify, the soon-to-be Google Music Move, and also on YouTube if you want to watch.
Yes.
That's where the action is. It's worth watching. Yes. And you can also find us on
Discord. You can join for the fun. We also host our lives through the Discord, so you can interact with us and even join through voice, which is exciting. So follow the link and hang out with us.
Yeah.
Great people down there, too.
We're going to be distracted. There's a fly, and we've been trying to get it. So
like all morning.
Just be ready for that.
Somebody's going to just clap out of nowhere.
Yes.
It's going to happen.
Like that.
But did you get it?
No, I missed it.
Dang it.
Okay, what else? We focus on the emotional end.
I already said it and you missed it.
Oh, I missed it?
Yep.
Well,
I was like, that includes both mental and emotional.
I'm mental
and he was like, I'm going to keep going. And I was like,
yeah, the fly got me,
bro.
Man. It thrown me off.
But
I am mental and she is emotional. It's perfect.
True facts. So, it gets silly. Hang around. Like I said, we are siblings. So in this episode, we talk a little bit about bias as it applies to getting medical care, as well as what it's like to be growing up in different kind of age and weight classes and how that impacts not only your mental health, but your physical health, and also the kind of massive death traps we get stuck in because the systems are a little bit broken.
Yeah. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
So we'll be getting into that. Hopefully you guys enjoy. But first,
it is time for the weekly recap.
Chicken.
Indeed. Here we go. It's been a week. This week felt like
many weeks.
A lot of weeks.
Even yesterday felt like another week because I felt like when you said that, it's like, yeah, we said that last week.
Yeah.
No, that was yesterday during the live.
Yeah. Oh my God, I thought so too. I'm living a weird loop that takes forever.
Yes. And to put it in perspective, there are only 4,000 weeks to a life on average.
It's a lot of weeks.
It's a lot of weeks. I know
weeks.
It's meant to make you put it in perspective, but it is a lot of weeks.
Sorry, bug. Wanted to get it. It's messing with me on purpose.
I'll go first.
Okay.
Because my week was pretty forced.
Yeah.
I was fighting being ill or MCASing, like severe MCAS reaction day. Yeah. We both had on Thursday.
Yes, that was Thursday.
It was intense because I was sick. I thought I was sick. But it went away the next day.
Yeah.
But I had to medicate. I had to take Sudafed to clear up my sinuses because I couldn't breathe. I was running a fever. I was bright red. It touch hurt.
Yeah.
It was not fun. So we had that day.
Yeah.
And then I had to force getting the edit done this week because I kept falling asleep at the computer while editing and messing up the edit because I'd fall on the keyboard. Oh, I was so frustrated.
Oh no.
I lost it 3 times.
Oh my God.
Because it would try and bring up that file. It freezes on my computer if you hit the file tab. I'd short key to it.
Oh no.
And it would crash. Over and over and over. And I lost so much progress.
Frustrating.
So I did that. We got it done though. And it was a good episode. Yeah. So I like it. It was good. Jen did the thing. And with Sophie this week, I've been watching all of the Saw movies. And right now we're on 4. And we started it, but we didn't finish it because we got really goofy and distracted.
Yes.
Got him.
Yay.
Got him that time.
Yay.
Okay. What else?
Yeah.
What else happened this
Saw
week?
movies, and then
I saw you.
I
didn't saw you, but
thank you.
I
appreciate you not sawing me. That's good.
Otherwise, it was a chill week.
Yeah.
We were supposed to get work done here, but our bro has been busy with shenanigans.
Many shenanigans.
Much shenanigans.
Yep.
And then it wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad week.
No, it was just really long. Oh my God.
I kept thinking it was Friday, like you said yesterday.
Oh my God. It had been Friday since Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then Friday happened, and then it didn't feel like Friday anymore. It was the weirdest, longest, most convoluted, obnoxious week ever. It wasn't horrible. nothing like crazy happened. I had therapy.
Oh, yeah.
And that was not super. I mean, it was productive in a way because we got through a lot more than like coming to realizations, I think, on her end. Because we went back to the conversation of like pacing. Are you pacing? Are you taking breaks? Maybe if you took breaks, the pain would be less. And I'm like, or maybe I just have a lot of stuff happening all the time, constantly. Because I was like explaining, I fell down the stairs twice since we last saw each other.
Yeah.
All of this stuff is going on. I injured my wrist. I had to have that extra oral surgery. Like, all of this stuff is happening. Da 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 da. And she goes, "Well, how's your chronic pain?" And I was like, "I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you or anyone else means.
Right.
When you say chronic pain, I don't know what you mean."
She doesn't have chronic pain. She has pains chronically.
Yes.
And that's not like just respinning it. It's literally, it's a new pain every day.
Yeah. And they take turns and it's all different stuff.
Right.
And it's like.
Chronic is like 6 weeks and on, I think is like the clinical definition, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have pains up to 6 weeks and then they change.
Yes. Or they add to themselves and then evolve. And then.
Right. It's so frustrating that you've had to teach multiple parts of your team the same thing over and over and over and over. And
it's hard because I'm like, I need you to understand that I'm not dealing with like one thing that hurts, just chronic baseline. I'm like, no, the baseline is feeling awful, but it's like you get used to it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, yes, we have a baseline of sick and a baseline of feels terrible, but it's filled with different stuff. There's different things in the cart all the time. So I think she finally got it, and that was interesting. But we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then we had the live on Friday.
It was a good one. We had a lot of people.
It was a good one. It was fun.
And again, join for the lives. You can join us on YouTube and chat there. You can interact with us on voice on Discord.
Yes. Yeah. Or ask for support or help from literally anybody in there. They're wonderful. So we talk a lot about how much we love our community.
Because it's legit.
They're amazing. We enjoy them. But yes, today we're going to slide into, how do you want to start? Do we want to pull up the comment so we can read kind of the genesis of this idea?
I like that idea.
Because we had to kind of make it make sense to us and make it make sense to our experience. And then we're going to try to honor the comment, but within our own knowledge.
Right. We have to frame it through our experience.
Yes.
Which doesn't like 1,000% line up with it, but we have things that are relating.
Yes, very similar. Or similar experiences anyway.
Our people are just being friendly to everyone. Sorry.
We're like, oh, they're so cute. There's another bug.
Okay, so
missed it. Hit the mic though.
Where did it go? It was in topic discussion, yeah.
No.
Episode discussion. In topic suggestions. I was combining the two in my head.
Oh, okay. I was like, why are you looking there?
Okay, so Nightshade suggested this one. It says, "Hi, I was wondering if you could do a topic. I haven't been able to find anything about being overweight and EDS/chronically ill." With a diagnosis, and or being younger and having EDS/chronic illness diagnosis, as in getting diagnosed, the stereotypes and difficulties. Yeah, so we know what it's like because we haven't had those, like the diagnosis part.
Yes,
we know what we missed out. On. And then as far as weight goes, like we were both very tiny people.
Yes.
as young adults.
Yeah.
Like on the scary side.
Well, and that was part of the like diagnosis that was missed within, because we could have had those problems like treated much, much earlier. but they never were.
Right.
And it was pinned on kind of other things.
Yeah. And then I became overweight over time, as you do. Mostly because of medications.
Surgeries. Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah. Surgery started it. But then, like, medications, especially, like, when I change them, my weight fluctuates.
Yeah.
Like, crazy.
Yeah.
I'll lose, like, 30 pounds, and then I'll be like, oh, okay. I know what the problem was. Thanks.
It was that
Lisinopril.
medication. Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. But yes, so as far as being like weight being a problem within diagnosis, there's like a few factors to kind of pick apart.
Right.
So we have like the stereotypes that might prevent diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have there's just a bunch in there. So we're going to try to we're going to meander through this one a little bit.
Okay, let's start with like the smallest subject we can talk about, which is like the clinical aspect of being overweight.
Yes.
And having a diagnosis.
Right.
Even when young.
Or even not having a diagnosis and like the concerns that might be.
Right, because the biggest thing for me is, especially, I still fight with this. Oh, nice catch. You got it. Yuck. That I don't fit the stereotype of EDS because everyone's like, oh, they're tiny, they're skinny.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
That's usually from lack of eating.
Right.
I substitute my eating with drinking foods.
Yes.
So I drink everything.
Well, and that's the other part is like, at least for me, now I consume a lot of calories through liquids.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because my water is not water. My water is like Gatorade and fiber all mixed into one thing. And it's like a weird orange juice, slushy, thick water mess. Yeah. Right? But that's what I drink all day and then add on some coffee.
Yeah. But like for me, like the problem I have is that I'm like, oh, I don't fit the mold. So like, you know what I mean? Especially when you're like looking at finding out you're diagnosed, like figuring out problems. Like, oh wow, that one's right in your face.
I don't know where it went.
The problem being that like doctors will lump everything onto your weight and ignore that it could be something else.
Yes.
Until your weight is addressed.
Yes.
But your weight won't be addressed because
until you well, and that's the really, really hard and super unfair part about chronic illness as a whole.
Yeah.
Because we know your weight might contribute to the intensity of symptoms.
Exactly.
But because of those symptoms that may or may not be there, regardless of the weight contribution, and even how significant that is arguable in the first place. But how are you supposed to address it when moving is hard?
Yeah.
How are you supposed to lose weight when you can't?
Right.
Like you can't
move
around because no one's addressing your pain and blaming it on your weight.
On your weight, right.
And you can't do anything about your weight because your pain hasn't been addressed.
But your pain is because of weight.
Yeah.
It's the problem I ran into kind of inverse where everything was atrophy. I atrophied and atrophied. So I exercised and exercised. And to the point I tore ligaments and tendons completely through.
And I had like, oh, you're malnourished.
Right.
Or, oh, you're just skinny and that's why it feels like that. Like it won't feel that way once you gain some weight. Your joints just hurt because you're skinny. I didn't understand that one. I kind of did because it always felt like they were knocking against things. They were really exposed. But even now I have that where I'm like, I don't like it when my knees touch each other.
No, but you accept it as fact.
Yes.
When you're, especially as a child and people are telling you things.
But
what, self-advocacy as a child? No.
Right. And then to have, I mean, at least for me, there was this aspect of gain weight and that'll fix the pain. But nobody's addressing why we're not gaining weight in the first place.
No, because you were doing it to yourself.
Yes.
Same with like being overweight. If you're overweight, you did it to yourself.
Yeah. Oh, and you deserve it at that point.
Yeah.
If you did it to yourself, you deserve it.
Because you're lazy. But you're and then that feeds back into your insecurities, right? It's like you're like, oh, I guess I am lazy because I don't do things because I'm in pain. But you don't attribute it to the pain. You attribute it to being lazy because you're just only hearing the negatives.
Or the pain. And the pain is only because you're overweight or underweight or whatever it may be. Or, oh my God.
It's daunting you.
I know. And I can't get everything out of the way enough to like get it when I need to. Right there.
Oh, there he is.
Right there. think you got it.
Yeah, I think I did.
Yay. Okay, sorry.
Gnats.
But there's this like vicious cycle, and then it turns into self-abuse at some point because we're like, why can't I do this?
Right.
Why is this happening? God. They're making me just a little crazy, but it's okay.
I'm sorry.
It's kind of fun to like snap them, but that's the desire, is to get them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's this vicious cycle of dread, like nobody's getting anywhere.
Right. No, and you feed yourself the lies more, especially as a teen. Like I can't imagine. I mean, I can, because I was told that it was atrophy, and that I was just, because I used a keyboard. Like that was the question was, I was like, I have really bad shoulder pain, and his question was, oh, do you use a keyboard? I was like, yeah, at work I do. Oh, you're atrophying. Oh, I've had pain since I was a teenager.
Yeah,
but you're right. I'm clearly,
oh my God,
clearly atrophying.
That's always what it is too. Is like, your pain is because of this thing that happened recently, and you're like, but the pain has been around,
like it predates it,
way longer than that thing that happened. And that's always my like argument when people are like, oh, it's your medications. And I'm like, no, it's not.
Predates.
No, it's not, because I've had this problem forever.
Which is part of why like documenting all this stuff is really good. Yeah. Because then you can go back and be like, on this date exactly, and then show them your documentation. Yeah. Just as a side.
I actually got to do that with my therapist the other day.
Oh, good.
Not show her, but we talked about how I do mark things down. Yeah. But I do it in a really silly way because it's you and me talking.
Oh yeah, we just text each other.
I just am like, Evan, and so now I can go through our conversations and just search the word Evan and pull up whenever that was happening. Yeah. And it's funny. But yeah, no, keep track of what's going on. Keep track of what ages you like roughly were when certain symptoms started to appear or when they worsened. Because, well, that's the other thing with Ehlers-Danlos, is that sometimes it's so quiet for so long that we don't know there's a problem until something kind of shakes it into gear. Yeah, exactly. And then you are rapidly falling apart and you're not sure why.
That, and I think part of the discovery of Ehlers-Danlos, like part of that is connecting dots and realizing that those are things, and so it feels a lot more rapid than it actually is. You're like, oh my God. Because
I could say like it began with my shoulders after the car accident, but I mean that was the beginning of
your pain journey.
Rapid stuff. Yeah. But even before that, like my knees were locking and dislocating, and I had sciatica as a very small child.
Growing pains aren't a thing. Yeah.
They're not real.
Right.
It's not a real thing. Growing pains aren't real, and anyone who's saying you have growing pains, they lie. It's not true. So if your child has growing pains, get them checked out, please.
Yep.
Please.
My children do, but we have to get that looked at eventually.
Yeah. But you know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And you know how to help them like mitigate some of the impact. It's just hard because Ehlers-Danlos is so retroactive.
It is.
Like we want to, everything we do is in repair of damage we've done. Yeah. Essentially.
Something I think we should speak to that I thought of while we just now is we were asked to talk about weight when you're a teenager, right? I think we should talk about accepting that it wasn't your fault as an adult. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, because what we have to deal with now is the fact that it wasn't our fault. Right. That we were both, as teenagers, we were tiny. I was 140 and 6 feet. Yeah. Like I was a twig, and that was my heavyweight.
5'6", and I was like 78 pounds.
Yeah, you were a twig.
I was like 86 pounds maybe in like freshman year. Yeah. Because eating hurt. It was painful. It was horrible.
But like, what do you do with that now?
Now I have to look back at it, and like there's some righteous anger to it. Like I'm going to validate that anger because there were a lot of things that should have been done differently, and I was the kid, and it wasn't my job to like be in charge of that situation. Right. And that's really the way I have to look at it to validate teenage me, is like, you were the kid, dude. Yeah. You were the kid.
Yeah, I was going to say, with that,
not your fault.
It wasn't even that they mishandled it. It's that they used it against us.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't just something, it was, like, you were being bad because of your weight.
Yeah.
Like, clearly that was a sign of you misbehaving behind the scenes.
Right. Well,
you know what I mean?
A grab for attention, or
that
was the one that really hurt me, because I did anything and everything I could as a kid to, after like being more self-aware, because I was growing up with ADHD.
Yeah.
That was the other thing. I was growing up with ADHD and nobody knew, and I was just bad all the time.
Yep.
I was the bad kid all the time. And so I did everything I could not to draw attention to myself unless it was positive attention.
Mm-hmm.
But even then it was like, you're doing
icky.
These things for attention, when in reality they were symptoms and I couldn't help it.
To clarify, though, it wasn't even that she would do good things for attention. She would do good things to get secondhand attention.
Yeah.
The only good attention in our house was the kind that was described to other people about us.
Right.
So, like, if we had a gathering, we would have to listen to how bad we were, or we could listen to how not bad we were.
Right.
So, but like, even like we were saying, the weight stuff was used as a weapon against us.
Yes.
It wasn't.
Well, and even now, our younger brother is still, he hasn't had surgeries to slow him down. He hasn't had like major injuries to slow him down. So he is still skinny mini. He's very, very physically active.
Yeah.
And works really hard and has a really active job.
Mm-hmm.
And he is way underweight for what he like should be for his height. But that's how we all were.
Right.
And yet somehow it was like, this was a problem that went beyond just biology.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. Like I'm processing now, like that.
Yeah.
I was a twig and I was that way, and it wasn't anyone's fault, because you want to assign blame to something.
Yeah.
But really, it wasn't like that I wasn't eating.
Right.
It was that I couldn't eat.
Yeah. Well, because that's what we talked about earlier today, was that like it was painful. Eating was painful, and I would vomit a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And so I stopped eating because it was uncomfortable. It was a like super weirdly judged thing, and so I didn't want to interact with it anyway. And I had a really unhealthy relationship with food, even from a kid, because I would gag at food.
Yeah.
Because I have a sensory processing disorder. Thank you.
I had like the opposite experience, where like the only time people saw me eat, I was gorging.
Oh yeah.
Because I hadn't eaten for so long. And then I was able to eat at that moment, so I would eat a ton.
So you were like, eat everything.
So people thought I ate insanely all the time.
Yeah.
But it wasn't all the time.
Oh,
It
and
was
that you weren't gaining weight. And it was your metabolism. That was the other one we heard a lot.
Oh yeah. Which is true to an extent, but it was disordered eating.
Yes.
The whole time.
Right. Well, and I want to clarify like disordered eating versus eating disorder. Because especially the two of us have ADHD, and ADHD creates disordered eating anyway.
Yeah.
And for me, when eating was painful, it was either entertainment or it was an inconvenience, right? Like it was either something I could eat in small little bites. So it was like snacky food.
Yeah.
Or ice cream. I would gorge myself on ice cream because my stomach hurt.
Yeah. I mean, there were pints and like stuff dedicated to you. There was like, that's Corina's ice cream. Don't mess with it. Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's what I could eat. That's what I could eat, and that's what I was eating. But even growing up with just ADHD, you forget. You forget to eat for long periods of time because it doesn't bother you to be hungry.
Right.
I stopped being able to feel hungry. I don't know what that feels like. Half the time I'm like, is my stomach on fire or am I hungry?
Right.
If I put food in there, is it going to be a huge mistake? Or facing the thing where you want to eat and you can't.
That one happens a lot.
Yeah.
The want but can't.
Like I have a video on my TikTok of me trying to eat, and it's like a teeny tiny itty bitty muffin. And I was like, I pulled it out. I wanted it. I looked at it. I wanted it. I touched it. I unwrapped it. I couldn't eat it. Nope. Nope. But I wanted it. I want to eat it.
Yeah.
But I can't. But there was never, I don't know, because there were just so many things at play.
Yeah.
All at the same time.
Oh, exactly. It's so much more complex than it was assigned at the time.
Right.
And everything assigned at the time was self-blame. Like, it was all you did this, you're not doing this.
Yeah.
Right.
And
then everything in the background kind of like pokes its head, but only to make it look like it's still your fault.
Yes.
Right? Like, you're lazy. Like, well, I mean, technically, I guess you're right. I must be lazy.
If I was actually interested in getting better, maybe I would change something.
Right.
Yeah. Ugh. Just icky things. But I don't know. We were not reluctant, but a little gun shy to talk about weight because EDS.
I've had a weird experience with weight. Like, I'm overweight, but like I said, it's like medications and the fact that I drink all my calories. I don't eat a whole bunch, and I'm as active as I can be. Yeah, because I like moving. Moving is fun, and it keeps you from being in more pain. Yeah, but like, it's just so weird. Like, I don't want to say that I'm overweight. Like, there's shame in that. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't think. That's the thing. We've got to remove shame. Yeah. Shame has to go away. Yeah. It has to go away. Because the more we are shamed of what's happening within our bodies, the more isolated we get and the more isolated we feel when there's so many other people who are having similar experiences.
Right. Exactly. But like, even, I don't know, it's just the thing. Like, I accept it and I'm not ashamed of it, but I don't want to talk about it. Like, for no reason other than like,
I just don't, I didn't feel like, yes, very impostery. Yeah. I didn't feel like I had a stake in it, because I always got the like, oh, well, you wouldn't understand because you're skinny. And even now, like, I'm not overweight. Right. I'm over what I want to be, but that's simply for the fact of I don't want to buy new clothes.
Right. But we were able to frame it in a way that made you able to relate to it, because it's still the same. You get treated the same way by doctors. Like, they won't do certain things with you until you've achieved a certain weight. Yes. They won't. Same if you're heavy, they're not going to do things. They're going to blame it on the weight. Right.
Well, and there was a lot of that where it was your symptoms are because you're too small.
And I'm sure that gain weight. There's the same problem with being tiny and having EDS. Yes. Because it's, when I was hearing that when I was younger, it was exercise. You had to build muscle because everything was messed up because I didn't have enough muscle.
That's really interesting. Right. That's so interesting. Because for me, it was just like, well, you need to eat more. You need to gain weight. Right. And if you gain weight, everything will be like honky dory. No, yeah. But for you, it was like, you need to beef up, kid. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I hadn't even thought to compare the two. That's really interesting.
It's weird, right? Yeah. Like, and
it wasn't about health for you. It was about like, beef up, kid. Beef up, kid. Right. You need the muscle.
Right. The shame. It wasn't explained either. Like, if you put on muscle, it'll help hold your joints together. Right. It's not. We didn't even suspect joint problems, but exactly. It wasn't presented in a nice way. No. It was you're atrophying. Yeah. And you need to work out more.
Oh my God. Which is ridiculous, because in order to atrophy, by the way, you would have to just not move that muscle.
I know.
For an extended period of time. And by extended, I mean like days, weeks, months. Yeah. That happens after you're immobilized, not.
No, it was, and this was gross. Told to me by like 8 doctors. Yeah. It was like 1 doctor a year I would try. Yeah. I would give it a shot for 8 years. And it was always the same thing until I found the one that was like, let's do imaging on your shoulders and see what's going on.
God, it's just, it just makes me mad now, because I mean, it's not even a blame thing, but it is something where, looking back, there was so much self-abuse that didn't need to happen. Yeah. And that sucks.
Well, and it took us forever. Like, even after starting to find out there was a real problem. Right. Even I would approach everything like I was in the wrong. Yeah. Like
you had done something to cause that problem. Yes.
And I'm sure that's the same thing. Like,
that's how I felt about my mouth for the longest time.
Oh my God.
Because I puked a lot as a kid. I puked a lot. That was just a thing that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so I felt guilty
Mm-hmm.
about the state of my mouth. And I felt like it was my fault and I had done this to myself. And people were mad at me for having done it to myself. And they were ashamed. Like they were grossed out. And how could you have done?
I know.
Ooh.
I know.
Ooh. Don't like it.
Which, that's a universal experience. That's
yeah.
like what we're talking about. So like, as far as the weight and being young, I'm sure that it has to be similar to that.
Yeah.
And as far as like diagnosis and stuff when you're young, there isn't a universe where that was possible for us.
No. And honestly, the interesting thing is we were diagnosed relatively young.
Yes. Oh yeah.
And that part is very...
Yeah, you hear like people find out in 40s, 50s, 60s that they have this.
Right.
And then their whole life retroactively makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. Especially with Ehlers-Danlos type 3, because there aren't as many like super serious and I don't mean serious in a negligent kind of like negligible kind of way. I mean serious as in like life threatening.
Yeah.
Because that's the type of Ehlers-Danlos we have is type 3. And so there aren't as many really concerning things that might have driven us to find care earlier.
Yeah.
And to put symptoms together. Whereas other types of Ehlers-Danlos might be diagnosed earlier because there are really severe symptoms that pop up. Like prolapse is huge.
Right.
Prolapse is enormous. So people as young as like 5 years old diagnosed via that symptom or that group of symptoms or hemorrhaging problems or
the closest
issues.
I ever got to being diagnosed as a kid was one time I was playing basketball and someone stomped on my hand. Like I went for a shot, they knocked me down, and then they landed with their heel on my hand on purpose. This guy was being a jerk and like, you know, hit it hard and like rubbed his heel on it and then ran away. And it messed up my hand for a while. So we went into the ER, got x-rays. Not even the ER. We just went into Kaiser. I remember it was just a Kaiser. Yeah. And they did x-rays on it. And the closest I ever got was them saying, oh, he's double jointed. Yeah. It was a hyperextended tendon was their diagnosis. That was the closest ridiculous. I ever got. And then like as a kid, I got diagnosed with double jointed. Like everyone was like, wow, he can flex so far. Yes. He's double jointed.
We
so
always
cool.
were told like, oh, you're double jointed. Oh, you're double jointed. And we did party tricks because that's the seriousness we knew about.
Yeah.
But then as we got older, we started having more problems in more areas. Like when my right arm started to fail and my wrist was totally messed up. It was carpal tunnel and tennis elbow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Is what that was. That's what that was.
Well,
I was 12 or 13 years old.
It took me to... Well, this is even interesting. It's just a fact. I didn't start looking for a diagnosis until after my third surgery.
That's really interesting. Because I didn't even have surgery until I was diagnosed.
See, yeah, I was the other way. I did surgery on my shoulders because we found the problem. We didn't know the cause. Yeah. Right. So I did both my shoulders. And the only reason we did those is because I couldn't use them anymore. I couldn't raise my arm above here. Like, I couldn't physically do things like hold my kids. I couldn't do basic stay-at-home dad stuff.
See, I got gabapentin, muscle relaxers, and I think that was it. Yeah. No, and a stomach med prior to diagnosis. Right. And that was it.
But yeah, it was after that we finally went searching for a diagnosis.
Yeah.
So I don't know where I was going with that. I got distracted by gabapentin.
Oh, sorry.
I love gabapentin. I wish I was on gabapentin earlier.
Right. Oh my God. And like discovering how much pain we were actually in after we were treated was really an eye-opening experience.
Yeah. No, like post-surgery was crazy. Yeah. Even the pain I was in after surgery was less than the pain I was constantly in with my shoulder being bad.
And this is why like people are horrified when we're like, yeah, surgery. Let's go surgery. When is surgery? Let's do it now. I could fast really fast.
It makes such a difference.
It does. It makes a huge difference. And even if it's temporary in our case, because they give us what? They're like 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Ish.
That's
8
the
if you're
expected.
really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
8 if you're really awesome. If
I'm
you're
pretty
awesome, it'll last longer. No,
if you baby the crap out of them.
Mm-hmm. But don't do that either, because what you really need, and this is the really hard part about having this conversation around like weight and fitness as a whole, is that in order to preserve your joints, you have to preserve your range of motion.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to do that, you have to have that like strength and stability within your joints and within the muscles around your joints, because your muscles literally have to do all of the work.
Yeah.
So if you're going to train something, train the muscles. Train the musculature around those joints.
Yeah.
Train the musculature in your trunk, because it makes a huge difference to have that stability. I know it's terrible. They're everywhere.
They'll die soon.
And it's not an easy thing to say to people, because like, great, if you were a normal, well person, not normal, you know what I mean. But if you were a well person and you wanted to just train, that would be one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, go train, be free. But for us, there's a lot of injury management.
Yep.
There's a lot of like fatigue management. There's a lot of, we have to be careful of dislocations. And we also need to be on the lookout for our POTS symptoms as well.
Yep.
But then if you're talking about someone who is overweight and dealing with all of that,
mm-hmm.
and the pain of moving because you've already damaged joints,
yep,
how can you look at someone and be like, it's all your weight, good luck, see you later?
Yeah. Like, it's I don't know how you get diagnosed really until
There's
you're
no
late life.
Yeah.
Until it's something serious. Because they're going to point at everything else.
Yes.
And not look for the cause.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was lucky to get that nurse practitioner, Marianne.
Yeah.
Not Marianne. It was Deanne, my first one.
Okay.
It's right there. I'm going to kill you. And she was like, let's figure out the cause. And we did.
Yeah.
We figured out a cause. Like, we were like, it's got to be some sort of connective tissue disorder.
Yes.
Like, she got us on that track.
And once we had that, we had a thread.
Yeah.
And then we could follow that and try to put it together. But even then, it took us like
that was
2-3
almost more
years.
discouraging than not having it, because we only had one that didn't fit. Mm-hmm. And for me, like, presenting it to people,
right, we were like, it might be this. They
like,
think it might be this.
We suspect this condition.
Yeah.
And the answer I always got was, you don't look it.
Yeah.
That was where I think the weight thing started, was
mm-hmm.
because it was Marfan's, and Marfan's people are like different length. They have like anti-symmetrical features, and they're scrawny. And I have a lot of Marfan's things. Like, I have the small palate. Yeah. The like super raised roof.
Yes, there are features, because it's another connective tissue disorder.
Right.
So they're in the same like family, but Marfan's is very well defined.
Yeah. And then to try and defend that you might have it when you don't.
Well, and especially when we weren't sure that there were other, like, we weren't sure of what the other connective tissue disorders might look like.
Right.
Or that there were other options or avenues within that.
Yeah.
It was a lot to try to process, and also to try to keep looking when people gave the nose and the hard nose and the like, stop looking because there's no point. You're fine. Everybody goes through this. Everybody has pain when they get older.
Right. Well, that isn't that wonderful? You can be too young for pain until you're too old to not have it.
No, see, this is what was crazy, was everybody has pain pre-diagnosis.
Yeah.
After diagnosis, having them go, "Oh, you're too young to be in so much pain. Exactly. I'm so sorry. That's terrible." What is that? And that's why we say that the diagnosis is huge.
Yeah.
It means a lot. A lot of people will try to say it doesn't make a difference.
It makes a huge difference.
It makes a huge difference.
Not even just for yourself. Like, because once you know that you have a thing and you can name it, like, at least for us, it made a huge difference. We celebrated our diagnosis because our lives made sense.
Oh my God.
But for just having professionals believe you, like medical professionals understand you and like it's so they'll approach you differently. Like if you say I'm hypermobile, they'll be like, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. That has nothing to do with what we're doing. But if you say EDS, like, oh, well, then we need to look out for this, and this.
Exactly. Well, and it makes a huge difference, even at the dentist's office, to have them be like, okay, because of your medical history, we're going to have to do things a little bit differently to make sure that A, you're comfortable, and B, you heal correctly.
Yeah.
That's enormous. The diagnosis really does make a difference in the care that you're going to receive. And that's not because it's just about the diagnosis, but it's also because it's about the bias.
Yeah.
And because people are not looking for zebras.
Right. So let's go on break.
Yes.
And then when we get back, we can talk just about bias in general.
Cool. Sounds good to me.
Like, because that's the tangent that we went into.
Yes.
Really. After we got through the first part. It's like, we just kept coming into different biases and different things. Like,
well, and how they're all linked. And even though we don't share certain sections, we can relate.
Yeah.
So, awesome. We're going to go on break, which means that they need to...
kill the gnats.
Kill them.
I got that one.
Good.
They need to drink, hydrate, or...
Drink, hydrate.
Drink, hydrate, or dihydrate.
Or dihydrate. Have a snack, because you are a snack and you deserve it. Also, go outside, maybe.
If you can.
Yeah.
Take a break if you're in the middle of something. It's okay. Take a 5-minute break.
Right.
Don't lose your energy, but don't push yourself.
And maybe bring your heart rate down a little bit.
Yeah.
So your poor body can reset the energy.
Yeah.
Right? What else? Do
bipolar
something
check.
nice for yourself. Ah, yes. Bipolar check. Get it.
Yeah. If you're bipolar, like a lot of us are, the bipolar bears, subset of trash pandas.
Yes.
It's a very complicated lineage.
Zebras, trash pandas, bipolar bears.
Bipolar bears.
All related.
Check in with yourself. Are you manic? Are you feeling sad for no reason? Are you hyper and want to get everything done for no reason? Just check in with yourself.
Yeah.
Understand yourself better.
Right. Yeah. Sweet. And with that, we'll be right back. Bye.
Oh, hi. Do you like Fantastic Pains? Would you like to see more of the Fantastic Pains podcasting crew? If so, you should join our Patreon. The Patreon, as we like to call it, is the new home of our behind-the-scenes content, full uncut recording sessions, our short-form videos such as TikToks and YouTube Shorts, and our past live streams. You can also find some Patreon exclusive content such as our new music reviews, lost episodes, and is the new home of our Mini Voices series, all of which can be found in our higher tier dubbed The Only Pains. The Patreon is the best way to support the podcast, so whether you want to see more of us or just want to help us grow, feel free to sign up following the link in the description below, and hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of the show.
Welcome back. No, I'm just kidding.
No, welcome back. For reals. She said it, I meant it.
Did you enjoy your break?
We did.
Yeah, we got stuff done. Like coffee. We got coffee.
I'd like to introduce you to our new sponsor.
Caffeine.
Me.
Plastic cups.
We sponsor ourselves, so subscribe and like to support the channel. Or you can join the amazing, wonderful Patreon.
Yes. Also share.
Yeah, share us, please.
Put us in whatever groups you feel like.
Stand up for us. Anyways, we're going to be talking about bias now.
Yes. So bias, wow, there's a lot to bias, and a lot of bias we encounter differently. And see, like, between our encounters with other people's medical care.
Yeah, so I was looking at the list of different types of bias, and I totally think we should just go back and forth and like relate to like how it was for you versus how it was for me. Yeah. Because we've both experienced
sounds good.
all the things.
Yes. Gender bias. Gender bias is super fun. Gender bias is the whole, like, oh, you have abdominal cramping, like pain at all? Any of it?
Yeah.
That's normal. Are you sure it's not your period? You haven't had this happen before? Are you sure you're not just being a little dramatic?
Shouldn't
Here's
you be
2
used
Tylenol.
to it by now?
Yeah. Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Here's 2 Tylenol. Get out of my OR.
Why are you in the operating room? You're
Sorry.
like, wow,
I
guys.
just kicked down the door and I was like, do something. And they were like, no.
Stomach pain. And they're like, ovaries. Be gone.
Go away. Bye-bye.
Yeah. I've experienced the flip side. Where because I'm a guy and I've expressed that I am in distress.
Oh, yes.
They're like, oh my God.
We have to help you immediately.
What do you need? Do you need another doctor? You want 4 doctors?
We could get you all the doctors.
It's like, come on,
every
no,
single
but seriously,
doctor.
like,
yeah.
If I'm not being discriminated for any of these other things, if I'm a guy, I typically they're like on it. You know what I mean? Like, oh no.
Yeah. Because like, well, men won't express pain until it's truly, truly horrible. But women are in pain constantly for no reason at all.
Constantly.
So we have to
no
jump when
all.
the men need something because they might be uncomfortable.
I'm always uncomfortable.
We don't want that to happen.
No.
But if you're female, comfort, what?
I think
Get back
with
in the kitchen.
gender, you should talk about mental health because I feel like that's another one that's biased by gender. Yeah. Like if I tell people I have my like bipolar, PTSD especially, then it's serious. Like as a dude and I've experienced PTSD, boy. Yeah. That's I mean it is serious, but you get what I mean. Like it's I feel like it's taken more seriously. Because
whereas like I don't know, everything for women that's anxiety.
Right.
You're in pain because you have anxiety. It's your anxiety.
Well, and your
anxiety that comes pre-installed on
also
women.
That you have trauma.
Oh yes.
And that's where your pain comes from.
That's
They really want to link the two.
Yeah.
That's
because they don't understand that what we have is not chronic pain.
Yeah.
It's literally it's either damage because I told her I was like the only chronic pain I have is when I've injured something and it's healed or healing or still messed up and needs to be fixed, or if something needs surgery.
Right.
Then I have chronic pain. That's how I know I need surgery.
Well, on the flip side of that, I have had major chronic pain. I do.
Yes.
And I hate it because everything gets pinned on it.
Right.
It's the source of every pain I've ever had now. But
even though other pains predate it.
Yes.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, absolutely.
Timeline, nothing.
It's so annoying.
Yeah.
It's like, how is your chronic pain? It's fine. But everything else sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, because of your chronic pain? No, because everything else sucks. What are you missing here? I have chronic pain, but it is not. I'm not so sad that my pain hurts more.
Well,
I was, but I'm not.
Yeah, exactly. Like we've dealt a lot with the mood-based learning, which is absolutely a thing. Like it's very viable that when your mental state is bad, you have less like bandwidth to deal with your physical state.
Yeah.
And therefore it seems worse and bigger. Got it. Cool. But when you recognize that, when you ground through your mental state, when you improve your mental state and the pain does not improve, it's probably not that.
Yep.
But yeah, that and the like, everything's anxiety.
Yeah.
Everything is like your trauma. Which is fine. Like I'm happy to deal with my trauma. That's great. I am not gonna.
Right. Just don't link it to other things.
Right.
Let's keep it separate.
What's the next one?
Age. Which we kind of talked about a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
But we both had you're too young for pain.
Yes.
You're too young to be in this pain.
We had before that even was it's growing pains.
Yeah.
Then it was it's attention. Then it was, at least for me, back to the like gender bias, like, oh well, you're going through puberty, and that's just gonna be.
And then I had the male version of just build up your muscles, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
get good, scrub.
Do you remember when I was working out with Cody?
Yes.
That was part of it. Part of that, I was working out with an Olympian. This guy was a child Olympic, and I
forgot you were doing that.
And I was keeping up with him on the daily.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, I did it hard.
And then wrecked himself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then continued to wreck myself for years.
Yep. Or we get the like, well, we don't want to treat it now because then we can't treat it later. Which is
God,
wrong.
yeah.
I've been lied to on a lot of like situations where they're like, "Oh, well, you're too young to have any like real blah 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 in whatever blah 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 blah."
Yeah.
Wait till you're older to like tackle that one.
The knees. That's their excuse for the knees.
Yes. Knees
you're not old
elbows.
enough to do knees because you can only do it once.
Which is not true.
No, but that's, you know what I mean. Like, that's what you get told.
Yeah. Race. We can't speak to that as accurately. We know for a fact.
Yes.
And you can look up any statistic on this that our black and brown skinned women especially are in danger.
Yes.
In this country. It's not good.
They're in danger going into the hospital.
Yes.
Like that's
more danger going into the hospital.
Right.
They also get sent home.
Mm-hmm.
When they shouldn't be more often.
Yep.
And so there's a lot of like people go home and then die because the emergency room was like, There's also back to that like outdated knowledge where we're not that far out from the horrible, horrible times of segregation and all of that nonsense pre-civil rights. It's not been that long, and if we really like put that into our brains and focus, we can see. Sorry,
I know what's going on in her head, which is why I'm giggling.
Why?
Nothing.
Oh, that black women feel less pain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Because of the color of your skin, you feel less pain. Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you yeah. No,
or the fact that
fine.
they've been practicing law. There are doctors that have been practicing law since the pre-civil rights era.
Yeah. Well, and it's the same thing with like women in general. Women don't feel pain. They give birth to babies. You think they feel pain, but also at the same time, if you're in pain, it's normal.
Right.
Something's not tracking here, bud.
Mm-mm.
I don't know. Maybe get that one figured out.
Yep. Yeah. No. Like I said, I can't really relate.
Yeah.
I've never really been discriminated against except for in childhood for being white in the Latina community.
Yeah.
Like
I'm a mutt, so I can't relate to anybody ever.
No. I mean, really. I want to identify with what I'm genetically connected to, but I can't. Right. Except for being Norse.
None of it. I don't know.
I want to be Norse.
Did you say you don't want to be Norse?
I do. I
don't
mind.
Being
I don't
Norse
mind.
is awesome. What?
Yeah, I get to pillage.
Yeah.
Legally, I'm allowed one pillage a year and one village to pillage. But I like to pillage with my friends, so I pillage their village, and I just keep the village. It's how I keep my villages safe from other invaders. Now
we are in Animal Crossing. Cool.
Never gonna see that the same way. I'm gonna be pillaging the crap out of Animal Crossing villages now. I'm gonna show up and start like putting stuff down.
And somehow I've done this
because you can put items down in other people's worlds. Oh, I'm gonna spam them with like bombs and stuff, things that look
like
menacing,
random stuff.
Because you can't really do anything scary in Animal Crossing, but I can make it look scary. I'm gonna pillage my village. It's gonna be a decrepit ruin of a city.
Amazing.
I'm gonna have so much fun with that thought.
I'm glad. You're welcome.
I don't want to be. I'm gonna go play Animal Crossing. You guys have fun talking about discrimination and bias. Not me. So, a treat.
I'm gonna go back to.
I found a treat.
Oh my god.
I'll stay for the treat.
Amazing. But yes, if you are ever confused about the fact that women and people of color are treated poorly in the United States medical system, just look up hysteria and wandering uterus and then get back to me.
Look at the survival rates of pregnant black women.
That too. That's abhorrent. It's
third
disgusting.
World country levels.
Disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
There's it's just a visceral response of ick and horror. Mm-hmm. It's awful. So yeah, that is a thing. It's not good at all.
And if you've ever been curious, even though we talk about it all the time, we're related.
Yes.
I'm just the light version. She's dark mode. I'm light mode.
Dark mode. Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
I'm going to claim that now. I'm just going to be like, I don't know. I'm just dark mode.
I'm dark mode.
What are you, miss? Dark mode.
But see, the difference is that unlike other light, like people who are stuck in light mode, I have the toggle.
You do.
I just can't.
You just have to go out into the sunlight.
It's like it's
the
disabled
opposite,
until I get sunlight, and then I can click on it.
Yeah. Yes, we are related, in fact. Let's talk about the other half of like mental health.
Okay.
Where this kind of connects to history as well, especially for our friends who have had either, not necessarily like a psychotic episode, but a mental health emergency of some kind, or a suicide attempt.
Yep.
And how they are treated within the medical community.
I could talk about that all day.
Yes.
I may not have gender, or not gender, race. I don't have race.
I don't have gender.
I don't have that either. I'm fluid like my daughter, son, thing. Love you, Rin. That was not mean. It's a joke between her and me.
Yes.
Him and me. Them and me. Thing and me. I love doing that because every time I get to it, she goes,
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, huh?
Amazing.
Like she's probably raging right now. She knows. But as far as like having any sort of mental anything on your history, it doesn't make life easier. I'll say that much.
No.
God, trying to move forward post-suicide attempt was very difficult because they don't want to let you.
Yes.
And they're very...
It's punitive.
In
this, like, we're going to preserve your life, but you're also in trouble for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Because you didn't succeed.
Right.
What? Maybe we should be kind to those people. Be like, oh my God, I'm so happy you're still with us.
It's never it's like if you...
It's like...
For some reason, like, in society, it gets lumped in with being in, like, a mental ward.
Yeah.
Which also isn't something that should be like
be ashamed of.
Right. It's not punitive. You shouldn't be like, oh, you were in the loony bin. Yes, I've been in the loony bin, and it's not fun, but I needed it.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of people do, and it's okay.
Yeah. It shouldn't be socially as hard as it is to go in and take care of yourself in that regard.
Right.
Like even just doing therapy.
Yeah. A
lot of people are just programmed to be like, nope, never. Right. Never going to talk about myself.
Yeah.
But then like going in, like to go in on my hold, I had to like volunteer it, and it was very hard. Like I got to the point where I was like, oh, this is dangerous. Like I was like, I could literally kill myself and I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
Like I was there. I was like, let's just do it.
Cat break.
You know what I mean?
Break. Yeah.
But talking myself into actually going.
Right.
Was another hurdle.
Right. Well, and that's exactly it. Because you can identify an emergency, but then we know that there are extra consequences with addressing that emergency with the appropriate measures.
Yeah.
And it's the same way that taking an ambulance can ruin people.
Yes.
Where they're like, yeah, I had a heart attack in a grocery store, but I'm going to drive myself. I'm going to wait for the taxi to come get me.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm not going to have life-saving care because it could ruin me.
Yeah. Actually, I thought I had when I was being driven to the hospital was like, I don't want to die in the car.
Yeah.
Because like I could not stay awake and it was getting worse and worse. And it just like, and you know me, I'm laughing at it. Like, this is absurd. The fact that this is happening, I'm giggling to myself and blacking out and then giggling and blacking out. And then it was horrible because I didn't want to take an ambulance.
Right.
I knew enough to know that I didn't want an ambulance.
Yep.
And I didn't know what day it was, where I was, who I was.
Yeah.
I mean, it's intense.
Yeah. It sits on your history and they look at that and it's ridiculous too, because this is why you need to make sure that you're checking your records and checking your doctor's notes. Because they can put whatever they want in your chart.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's things like over-medicated. Why? For
vindictive
spite.
Reasons.
Yeah, vindictive reasons. Other times it's like anxiety disorder, because we talked about being anxious one time ever, and then it sat on my paperwork for 2.5 years before they were like, oh, you're fine.
Interesting side pro tip.
Oof.
If you're visiting a hospital and people are refusing you care for certain things that you're pretty insistent on, have them mark it down in the chart.
Yes.
And have them put their name on it.
Yeah.
They're less likely to screw you over that way, because if it's noted and it's noted by who, then it's easy to track back when you later have a problem or the same problem.
Right.
They'll be like, oh, no, you know what? Actually, we'll do the test most of the time.
Yes. Most of the time, they're not going to fight you. They're not going to be happy with you.
No.
But if you say, can you document that refusal?
Yep.
Thanks.
Yeah.
They don't want to do that. They don't want to be attached to something that might have liability.
No. Sorry, random pro tip.
Yeah. The pro tip away, dude. But yeah, historical history too is another important one.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, I don't like going to the urgent care.
I wish there was an option. Sorry for cutting you off.
No, go ahead.
For recovered from or recovering from depression and anxiety.
Yes.
Because that shows that you've done the work. You understand the condition and that you're dealing with it.
Yeah.
Like, when I go in now, it's like, are you depressed? Currently, no.
Right.
I have depression. Like, it's being addressed. I'm medicated.
I'm well medicated.
And I've been through all the training that I need to function.
Exactly.
But there's no way to really note that. Either you are depressed or you aren't. And if you are, then you're denying yourself to lots of treatment just right off the bat.
Right. And you're a liar.
Yes.
You're lying about all of everything all the time, forever. Yep. And then God help you if you are someone who takes pain medication, because then everybody gets to mess with your care just on the basis of you take pain medication because you have pain.
Clearly, I've tricked all these doctors into believing me. Yeah. Into giving me pain meds that I'm not abusing.
Right. You don't even have to go in asking for pain medication.
No. Just having it on your, do you take this regularly? Yes. Oh, boy. You're one of those. Yep. Like, what do you mean I'm one of those?
All of your stomach issues are based on that one thing. Excuse me, do you know what dose I take and how often I take it? That's not my stomach problem.
I'll share the constipation story again.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was messed up. I went in for the side pain, which was caused from a tumor on my spine, on my actual spinal cord. But when trying to figure out what the problem was, I went to the ER. I went to UC Health, the Denver campus, the learning one.
Yeah. Okay.
And when I went in, they insisted that my lower left pain was caused from constipation. So to prove me wrong, when I told them I wasn't, instead of taking an image or something,
oh my God,
they were like, "Oh, we'll have to look for an impaction with our fingers." And they did for a good 15 minutes to punish me. And when they couldn't find anything, they released me.
Yep. Because if it's not constipation, it's nothing.
And if it was, then it wouldn't have been nothing.
Yeah. Yep. No,
because I was on pain medications.
There's definitely this, like, holier than thou attitude in some aspects. And that's not to say that they are, like, they go to school for a very long time and they like to lord that over other people sometimes.
Some do.
Ego can be a real problem in the medical community, but when you find someone who is actually interested in helping you, they may still ask you to run the gamut. And that can be worthwhile in some cases.
And the gamut, we're talking long term.
Yes.
Like long term.
Right.
Like your example.
How many it's been 2 years of very constant therapy for pain management.
With different therapy types. Same therapist, but like doing different treatments.
Right. For them to try to dig out the, like, your pain is emotional, your pain is emotional, your pain is emotional.
It reminds me of the person who is like trying to get a splinter out and they swear there's more. Yeah. And there's more, but there isn't. And they're just
digging a hole in your hand. Yeah. But I go along with it because, first of all, therapy is not going to hurt me. And if I was hating it, I would say something and be like, okay, I'm done with that.
Yeah.
And because it is crucial to build trust with a team that you are reasonably confident that you're going to get care.
Yeah.
And at this point, it has been worth it. We've finally gotten to a point where I think my team is starting to understand that I'm not dealing with chronic pain. I'm dealing with pains on a revolving door of doom and weirdness that are chronic in the sense that every single day is a new adventure of, ow, what is that?
Yeah. Yeah. No. The trickiest part about that is knowing when to stick it out, because you've been with it for 2 years, but the alternatives were not great.
No.
And it's not like you weren't getting anything out of it.
Right.
It just was misguided in a way.
Well, because that was the thing is like, part of me wants to be like, how did it take us this long for someone to be like, so for me to be able to say, I do not know what any of you mean when you say, how's my chronic pain?
Well, not just that you could say it. You've said that in different ways.
Right.
But it was never taken in.
Right.
Like, it's the difference between my old pain management and my current pain management, where like I had to go through the hoops and earn like with New Health, it took me, like, they were good. Yeah. But to earn the trust took a long time. Yes. And I had to keep reproving that I wasn't doing anything negative. But now I'm with a clinic that will listen to me. Right. Which is amazing. Yeah. And it's because I have the history.
Kosho.
Hi, Ko.
Honestly.
Look at your butt.
They don't want to see your butt. Dusty
Everybody
boy.
wants to see his dusty butt. But yeah, it's because I have the history, and they can read it in not negative light.
Right. And be like, wow, you've tried a lot of things. Wow, you've done a lot of things. Wow, you've stuck it out through all of these things. Yeah. Wow, you have a therapist that you're working with. That makes a huge difference, by the way.
It really does.
In a lot of ways, to be able to say, nope, I'm working with a therapist. We're doing all of this stuff. Yep. I have been for however long. That makes a big difference in getting appropriate care, because they're not going to send you down that avenue and then be like, okay, we'll wait and see if it helps in 12 to 17 years. Check back later.
Yeah, well, and the problem with them doing that isn't that it's not effective. It's the waiting part. Yes. Like waiting for it to have an effect on your pain. But when, in like your case where you waited, you literally, because they can just assume that you're hiding things for as long as they want. Yeah. They could have continued to be like, well, no, let's keep doing therapy. Let's keep doing therapy. Let's keep doing therapy until they got whatever they wanted. Like, there's a lot of that. Like, they choose what you have and they're going to dig it out of you.
Well, and that's the thing. I would not have tolerated them searching for something that's not there. Yeah. Because I've been through that so many times with the, like, we're going to try to bully you into a response so that we can be like, aha, see, we were right. Nope. No. Yeah. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. And you shouldn't either. So it's like making a plea deal. Don't do it. It's a bad idea. Yeah. Play the long game. But yeah, there's bias everywhere. And there are ways that we can kind of counteract it by being more aware of it ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, because then you can be proactive against it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it also helps you to understand people's I don't know, their motives, I guess. Yeah. When you are interacting with them. So yeah. Anything more?
My cat. He's just, if you're watching at home, he's kind of here. Let me just
he a dusty
boy. No, don't fight it. Just slide. Just slide,
he
buddy.
He says no, give love now.
There you go.
Offended.
Now he's upset because I slid him. Anyways.
Yes.
No, I think that covers it.
Awesome.
And I guess to just round it out with what we started with, like, if we had experience with being young and being diagnosed young, we'd have more insight into it, I think. Yeah. I know what we lack.
Young when we were diagnosed, and I'm not entirely sure like how young we were, how long they're talking, or how old they're talking.
I mean, it could still be that like 30s is considered the appropriate age for young.
Appropriate age, yeah.
In which case, it's been nice, I guess.
I was diagnosed in my 20s. I'm so early. Baby brother got it really good. He was 4 years earlier than any of us.
Forget that guy.
Because he's a baby.
That guy.
And then he was like, I'll protect my joints. And I was like,
Yeah, stupid.
What?
What you're gonna do? What?
You
now?
weirdo?
Yeah, watch the interview with
Yeah.
Benjamin.
It's good
Season
stuff.
2,
I think so.
I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Or season 1. He sits down with us and then we make fun of him for taking care of his body.
Yeah. It's great.
Just berate him. Social,
Left and right.
emotional scars.
He's
We're
like,
talking trauma. He's never been the same. He walks with a limp now. Probably from the EDS.
That's when you kicked him
EDS.
in the knee.
EDS.
And it broke.
He has EDS.
I mean, he does.
Yeah,
yes,
shut up
but-
about the kicking. God. Some people.
Other people.
Yeah. And then just to say, take care of yourselves.
Yes. You deserve it. Keep an eye on your doctor's notes.
Yes.
And be persistent when you are looking for care. Because
Well,
you
and
deserve to have care.
if you need help deciphering an experience, get on the Discord.
Yes.
Post in venting, and then
Mhm.
tag us specifically, or just tag other people that
Yeah.
you already know, or leave it
Disability
out there.
buddies.
Yeah,
Super,
Disability
super
buddies.
helpful.
Absolutely. Keep you honest and
Mhm.
help you maybe navigate a bad situation that you
Right.
don't know if it's bad or not.
Right.
There's a lot of that.
So much of it. It's not even funny.
We went through it, so you don't have to.
Exactly. Use our cheat codes. Ta-da.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, my friends. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We really appreciate you and your time today.
Mhm.
Like we said a little bit earlier, if you could like, share, subscribe, leave us a comment because we love to hear from you, and join the Discord if you have such a mind.
Yes.
Beyond that, I think it is time. It's time. So be kind to you, be kind to others, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye. What are you reaching for?
There was a fuzz.
Oh.
You know, sad to say, but one of these times we will say see you in the next one, but we won't mean it because we won't see you in the next one. It can't go on
Stop
forever.
being morbid.